Dear all, welcome to the 14th day of the High Performance Entrepreneurship Series. Dream big, aim high, start small. Start very small that it is very easy for you to focus on it. Start very small that it is just one thing you're working on it. Start very small that you have your 100% focus on it. And when you do it repeatedly, you will see that you're mastering it. And once you're a master of it, you are going to scale it. And I'm sure I'm going to see all of you as the next unicorn startups. So, again, telling dream big, aim high, start small, I would like to start the session of today. We don't sell, customers buy. For taking us through the session, I have Jyotika Shetty, who is a communications coach. She has been a businesswoman for the last 25 years, and I would like to call her on the stage. Jyotika, stage is yours.
Thank you, Kabir, and a very good morning. A very good Sunday morning, and it's so glad to see all of you here on a Sunday morning, taking time to grow, taking time to listen, and taking time to get inspired. A fantastic Sunday morning. A warm welcome to all of you once again. So, we're here on day 14, like Kabir said, and today we have a fantastic session, a session that will go a long way in helping you understand your customers and do business right. So today's session is We Don't Sell, Customers Buy. In the ever evolving landscape of sales and marketing, this mantra has become a guiding principle for successful businesses. It emphasized the fundamental shift in how we approach selling products and services. Gone are those days of aggressive sales tactics and convincing customers to buy what they don't need. I'm sure all of us have experienced that when we went out. We would go to the market and there would be someone coming and aggressively trying to force us to sell something. And we didn't know what is the kind of decision that we wanted to make. So gone are those days. Now things have changed. Instead, the focus is on understanding customer needs, building relationships, and creating value driven experiences that empower customers to make informed purchasing decisions. Ask yourself, when was the last time you made that informed decision, and what were the aspects that helped you make that informed decision? Over the next 1 hour, we will delve into the strategies, techniques, and mindset shifts necessary to embrace this customer centric approach and foster long lasting, mutually beneficial relationships with our clients. So let's explore how, by aligning our efforts with principle that customers buy, we can only drive sales, but also cultivate brand loyalty and trust. To take us through the session, we have someone that I have known for a few years now. We work together in our public speaking domain, a fantastic person, a hardcore sales and marketing professional who believes everyone is a salesperson, passionate storyteller, and trainer. He has been a passionate storyteller and trainer, and he's been in the UAE for nearly 2 decades. He's worked with a wide range of clients from top Fortune 500 MNCs to SMEs in the Middle East region. He believes that as humans, we are all storytellers. We do not sell product or service, we just create our stories and make enough people believe in them. So rightly said and so well said. He loves helping people and organizations to develop their stories. Please help me welcome our speaker for the day, Mr. Vinod Panikar. A warm welcome, Vinod, to the session.
Thank you very much, Jyotika, for that wonderful introduction. And I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are audible. I'll get
Thank you
back to
very
you now
much.
in a short while, Vinod, while you stay ready for the session. The next speaker we have with us is a person who's a branding expert, a LinkedIn branding expert with a growing business in this domain. You need an expert, and this is the person to be. He's a co-founder at BizTrips and FarmChimp, and over 20 years he's been into product development and marketing roles in different industries, including travel, tech, food, and digital. So he has with him a wide range of experience when it comes to business. So a warm welcome, Jasir Alavi.
Thank you so much, Julia. Nice to be here.
You're welcome. And I'd like to also take this opportunity to welcome our audience today: Vivek Matke, Semi, Binish, Robin Isaac, Martin. Welcome again, Martin. Nice to see you. Sue, welcome. Kamish, a warm welcome. Now, I'll just give you a small ground rules on how we're going to take the session forward. We're going to do a little different today. I've just given you an introduction to the session. What we'll do is once I hand over the session to Vinod will talk about this particular topic for the next 15 minutes. He'll enlighten us on how you can sell without being salesy. Once that is done, we will start asking questions. We'll have a discussion with the other panel of speakers. So at that time, please feel free to raise your hand and join a panel of discussion so you can put across your questions that you have. With that being said, I'd now like to hand over the stage to Vinod so he can take it forward. Vinod, the stage is all yours. Vinod, are you there? Vinod?
Hi, Jyotik. I was not able to
Yeah.
hear anything.
Oh, all right. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Now you're audible.
Okay, I just explained the session. I told the audience that you're going to speak for the next 15 minutes about this particular topic, after which we'll start our discussion phase, during which the audience is free to join the panel and we'll come up with certain questions that will enlighten all of us. Is that okay?
Yes, sounds good.
All right, over to you, Vinod.
Thank you very much, Jyotika, first of all, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Jasir. Thank you, Kabir. And thank you for all the attendees over here. And I believe that whatever your dreams are, it will come true if you keep doing the same thing what you are doing, growing on a Sunday morning. I have a very big dream. And what that dream is, I want to share with every one of you. Every function in an organization, if you actually look at, has got some proper governing procedures. For example, if you are an accountant, you follow the gap principle, right? The general accounting principle, which is governed by the world. If you are in operations, there would be total quality management, Six Sigma. So there are a lot of different formats through which different functions perform. Quality, for example. But sales, usually people think it's more of an art. Right? It used to happen generally was there would be a star salesman. If there is a team of 10 people, two people would be the star of that particular company. They would be bringing the most orders. And if they leave the company, the orders will also leave with them. And this is what the universities and the academic, like what you say, the people understood this. Then they started to bring in an engineering approach to sales so that it becomes more of a science than a art. But I believe that it's a mix of both art and science. So for me as a sales professional, I want to make it one of the most respected profession in this world. I sincerely believe that it has not received that position. What even the marketing gets much more appreciated than sales. But the most difficult thing in this world today is get out money from somebody's wallet and pay to you. And business is all about that, right? If you think the fundamental thumb rule of business, profit equals to revenue minus cost. How do you get your revenue? Through your sales. Through reducing your cost, you can do cost cutting and edge, but the morale of the team will be very down. So the only way to succeed in life, in business, is to get more and more of business and in a profitable way. So, in a mission that I want to make sure that sales becomes a profession, and there are different stages in selling, and what are the latest trends in selling. So, these are all what I share with most of the people in this part of the world. With my 20 years of experience, I came up with few scrolls or few statements. Wherever I go, I try to spread this. And I went deep into science of selling. That you ask me any method of sales, spin selling, medic selling, consultative selling, tiebreaker selling, challenger sales, solution sales. There are so many methods. These are proper research sales methods. I have gone through all. But then I realized something. Most of the research that has been done in US or Europe. It may not apply to the in the part of the world you are actually working or operating, like UAE, India, or whichever part of the world you are. So the best thing is take the sales methodology and localize it. Right? That's what we say. It's a global world, but make it local. So that is what I started as an attempt 5 years before, and I came up with few statements which I, to my heart, I corely believe it. This I call as my principles of selling that we all need to understand as an entrepreneur. This is one of the big thing. Like if you are an entrepreneur, generally there will be two things. Either you have an engineering mindset that you know the product in and out very well, but you may not be very good with the how to sell and how to administer a business. The second thing would be that you are amazing at making sales, but you don't have much idea about product. Myth by Michael Gerber. It is one of the must read for every entrepreneurs, and I will leave it over there. And let me come back to my principles. The first principle is what the topic of today's session is. We don't sell, customers buy. And this is one of the approach or the lens or the hat that you need to wear when you are an entrepreneur or a business owner or a salesman or a sales leader. Why? I will just give you one research. More than 70% of business to business buyer fully define their needs before engaging with a sales representative today. Okay. Forget about the research. If you want to buy a car today, okay, will you directly go to the showroom or do your research? I bought a car recently for my wife 3 months ago. So what I did was I went to websites, compared everything, and finalized and just went and paid for it. Okay, so the customers today are much more knowledgeable than they were 10 years before. So they do the information gathering, they do all their due diligence, and only then they are going to call the salespeople. Now, being from a packaging industry, there are few Fortune 500 companies with which we deal. They know our strategies of pricing much better than we know, right? So the customer of today is that much informed. So you are not depending on you to give any information about the product. Earlier, you were the salesperson was the only source, main source of information. So whatever you said, they have to believe, right? But today, they have lot of different sources to get information. They gather the information, they sort the information. Only then they come to you. Okay. So this is the first principle that we don't sell, customers buy. The second one is the first sale is always made to your own self. The first sale is always made to your own self. What it means is if you are an entrepreneur, if you are an employee, if you are a salesman, if you are a sales manager, you need to believe 100% in your product before even stepping out, right? So IBM used to do this many years ago. If they hire someone, it they used to make sure that for 6 months they are training their salespeople. Only after 6 months they used to allow them to go outside and meet physically with a customer. Because when you go out, you are representing IBM. The same thing with your business. You started your business or you are working for a business which has been started by someone with a vision and mission, right? So if you have 10 people, and this is one exercise which I do, and I always get different answers. Just go to your company and ask all five, and all 5 or 6 of them would give you a different answer apart from the company's name and the product, right? So this one technique or one methodology is called a sales enablement, where you streamline the messaging of the entire organization. Everybody should be clear on what the organization does. Okay. The third is, which I have learned a very hard way, that we do not close a sale, we start a relationship. And once you understand the meaning of this, your life changes. The way you approach a customer, the way you approach new prospects, leads, it will totally change your mind, like the concept and the mindset that no, I don't want to close my sale, I want to start a relationship. And the fourth, I always keep telling my team is no means not over in sales. No means not over. As a salesperson, we do not hear the word no. It just means to us not over. And we pursue till we get, finally, we understand that this lead is not qualified to buy from us. Okay. And I'll give you one example. 10 years before, I was taking up a course. I think it was something related to neuro linguistic programming. And why I am saying this, first, I will put it in context. We don't sell, customers buy. So if customers buy, what becomes how he or she is buying? How do they make decisions? What are their pain points? What is the methodology in which they want to buy from us? For example, in our business to business, like what you say, no, atmosphere, what happens is sometimes somebody sends a purchase order for a week. They would require weekly requirements. Some people are not planned at all. They will just call and say we need tomorrow. But there are many organizations, Fortune 500 companies over here, who will have 1 year plan. Okay, 70% would be same, 30% may change here and there. If we don't understand that and cater to them accordingly, customize our service, it would be like saying that we only have one shoe and it fits all, one size fits all approach. It doesn't work like that. So that is why when you say that we don't sell, customers buy, understanding the buying behaviors of our customer becomes very important or paramount. How is the customer making a buying decision? What motivates them? How many people are there in an organization who are part of this buying decision? Based on research, it says that in a normal organization for a B2B sales conversion, there would be around 6 to 7 people who will be part of a decision. So it is not that you go to one person and say that, okay, these are our product, this is our service. There will be influencers, there will be decision makers. And collectively, your offers may be even like what you say, scrutinized by each and every department. And remember, everybody has different needs. For example, 7 years ago, one of the prominent real estate companies had called me for training. Now, the first call that I got for training was from the HR. The need of the HR was totally different from the need of the finance manager, which I met after a week. The need of the finance manager was completely different from the need of the sales manager who wanted me to coach his team and train his team. And the need of the operation manager was completely different. Right? So you need to be able to understand with whom you are actually dealing with, and you need to be able to understand what is the methodology in which they want to buy from us.
Did we just lose him? Vinod?
Yes, there's a small glitch today on LinkedIn. Please,
Vinod, can you hear us?
we'll wait for a few seconds. It happens
Yeah.
in.
Okay. Request everyone to just hold on. Just give us a moment till the time the speaker comes back.
his hand and he told, hello,
Okay, Vinod,
yeah.
we we missed you actually. We couldn't hear you, so we've missed quite a bit of chunk towards the end.
Okay, okay. Most of you have
Yeah.
missed me. Kabir, you also?
Yeah, yeah. You had gone out of the room. LinkedIn has a problem like this sometimes.
Okay, tell me where did I stop at the end?
When you spoke about going to the HR for the training, they had different needs.
Oh,
Each
okay,
department has
okay,
different. Yeah,
okay,
from
okay.
there.
So,
Right. Yeah.
right, right, right. So, see, over here, when I said, when I went to the HR had different needs. So they said, we want to do this, whatever one or two, three things outcome they wanted. A week later, I met the finance manager in the company. He had a different need. His motive of buying or like buying my services was different. When I met when the sales manager, their motive was totally different. He only wanted outcome from his sales team. When I met the operation team head, he had a different outcome. Okay. So the way I catered or tailored my talk with the HR, with the finance manager, with the sales manager, with the operation manager was totally different. The service was same, but the language in which I spoke to them was what they understood better, not what I wanted to share with them. Okay, it was tailored based on their understanding. What is it that is motivating them to come to me? That was my complete thought. Okay, now coming back, there was a purchase manager in my cohort, and when the topic of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic this thing was going on, he raised his hand and said, "I completely connect with you." He said, "Just last week," and he was a very high visual person because both of us were doing exercise, and in his chart, it was very evident that he was a very high visual person. And what he said was, there was a salesperson who came 1 week before uh, to talk to him. And this salesperson just kept on speaking how his product is good, what are the benefits and advantages of his company, and all this thing. And this procurement guy was simply asking him one question: do you have a company's brochure to show me? Or can you share your company's website so that I can actually see? So he was a very visual person. He wanted to see a product or service, but the salesperson was an auditory person. He kept on talking, talking, talking for half an hour. And this purchase guy said that I was completely turned off. So for you, when you are going to meet somebody today or tomorrow, the first working day, try to do this is one technique which Mary Kay Ash, I think she was an owner of a cosmetic company in US. She said that whenever you meet a person, think that that person is wearing a necklace, and on that necklace it is written important. So try this from tomorrow. Whenever you meet someone, instead of directly jumping to the point and talking straight away, make a sincere attempt to it's not like what you say, no, whitewashing someone. It's genuinely telling someone good about what they have. Try this and let Kabir know or Jyotika know about it. How did you feel? So we call it make me feel important. So you're focusing on the buyer. So I will not dwell into deep, because once you start understanding the buyer's choice and buyer's preference, there is an entire academic scope of learning how to build a buyer's persona. Right, that is how products are built. Demographics, like you segment the customer through demographics, psychographic, genders, income, and all this thing, and then you create a product for all those things. I will not dwell into all those things. What I want you to tell is, when you are going out to sell your services, focus on what the customer wants. And that can only happen when you become a good listener. A good ratio is 60% your buyer should speak. If you are speaking more in a conversation, that means the customer is not engaged with you, right? So make sure, and as I rightly mentioned early before, because that was the only source they got information. Today, 70 to 80% of the decisions they have already made, and they will just call few suppliers to vet them and give them an entry. So once you get a chance to enter a customer, make sure you have done enough research about them, the company, and once you start talking to them, try to gauge and understand what is the motivation of buying. What are the fears that they have? As a salesperson, the most important thing that we have, or as an entrepreneur, the most important thing that we have to communicate with our buyers is certainty. That once you get attached with me, whatever I commit will happen. If that trust is built with your customers, and believe me, they will start calling you for even things which you don't have, which usually happens with us. Like most of my customers, they may want the most craziest thing in this world, but if they have a requirement, they will call me or someone similar to me, and they will just say that I don't have time, to look for these products. Can you find by tomorrow or today evening where can I get this product in the world? And they will just keep the phone down. Why do they do that? Because they trust me and they know that if there is this product anywhere in this world, I will find a way to get the details and share. And this has happened many trusting relationship with their customer. So I believe very, very strongly that you need to focus. And one of the objections that I usually get during the sales training and all was, no, but the customers usually always revolve around price. Most of the discussions are revolving around price. And with my experience and with all the research done on this specific thing, I can tell you it is never the price. It is never the price, right? Just look at your own self. From the time you get up in the morning, you take your toothbrush, toothpaste, till the time you go to sleep, your blanket. Now visualize 10 different things that comes in between. Okay, from your toothbrush to your blanket. What are all the 10 things? It may be your car, it can be your desk, it can be a sofa, whatever it is. My question to you is, do you buy the cheapest stuff in the market? Do you buy the cheapest stuff in the market? No, right? We don't buy the cheapest thing. We buy what is right for us. Exactly. This is what the customer is being paid to do by their employers. They are not there to buy the cheapest thing. They are there to buy the right thing which fits their requirement at that particular time. So if you are able to means communicate if that not that time, if they will come to you. And I will end with one small story. Wherever I go, I tell the sales team, if you lose a sale, create a lost business opportunity report. Okay, create a lost business opportunity report and go to your customer and ask the real reason why you failed, because surface reasons are never the real reasons. So one of my customers who had lost a major sales in Saudi, this was 3 years ago, they went back to that client. And when they went back to the client was more open. Anyway, they have given the business to some other person, and the client was happy that I saw this first time happening, that after losing the sale, somebody is coming and sitting with us, having coffee and all this thing. So when they started chat, they said, "We are here to fill this business opportunity, lost business opportunity report. We want to know what was the real reason." So first came the price, and then during this discussion, there came a term called as something like, what do you say? No, they said we had used GCC specs. Okay, so this customer wanted a machine based on GCC specs, but when they sent out the proposal, they had the proposal had written European specs or something because it came from Europe. So during this discussion, the customer found out that these people who lost sales had converted it to GCC and modified the proposal and given the correct quotation. But the people, this was a revolution, and immediately the customer called that person and said, "Did you change my proposal? I had sent you an inquiry and it was so and so. You had to change it to GCC and send." So they said, "No, we did not do that because we thought whatever you have sent, we only quoted for that." They got the sales. They lost the sales, that people, and these people who went to Saudi from UAE, they got the sales, and the sales was around 3 million euros. Just imagine, like, and these people get a lot of inquiries every time. And what happens is, once a sales is lost, they just forget about it. They don't go behind that because they always have a lot of things to do in pipeline. But when I made sure that anything happens, I want that report filled and I want the real reason. Then they started looking at things from a different angle. So I believe you must have got, like, what is it, some insight that how much important it is to think from the customer's perspective. So we say that thinking, walking in their shoes. That person over there who is buying, recently I'll share an example. So there was this buyer who was giving very tough time to one of our salesperson. So when I spoke to her and I met her personally, I realized that she had just become a new mom, delivered. So it was very difficult for her to maintain, like, manage home, manage kid, and all these things, and all those stress was coming out. And luckily, to her, I feel what you are going through because I have been through this twice when we had our baby, and we didn't had much support. So I realized that how my wife used to go through all this stress and all. And I told her every morning, just send me a WhatsApp message of what are the things that you want to be done for want from our side, three or four things, and from that time her life is smooth and our life is smooth. Or else the problem used to come whenever there was a major like problem used to get highlighted. Now the beginning of the week she sends me a message, these are the key things that needs to happen this week. I share it with my team, a team member, and say that make sure that this is happening and any delay let me know. Right? So people are different in their different phases of life. A person who is not married does not think like a person who is married. A person who is married and having a kid does not think like a person who is not married, right? People, once you have one kid, two kid, vacation, schools, all these things, as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, you have to be very clear where in the life phase is my buyer, because their decisions, their priorities will be dependent on those things. Now I know this is a little bit deep in psychology also, I can go and talk about a lot of things, but the only thing from this session if you want to take is right from today, when you meet someone, just give them comments and sincerely share good vibes with them. I'm open for questions, Jyotika and Jasir.
Thank you very much, Vinod. First of all, I request everyone to give Vinod a huge round of applause. It's a well-deserved, beautiful session that he has given. So I'm waiting for all of you to give a huge round of applause for the time taken to explain about what actually sales is, what actually the customer wants. And there's so much of rich insight that probably we all have to pay so much for this kind of a session. So thank you very much, Vinod, for that beautiful session that you have given us. It's indeed definitely given me so many nuggets and so many pearls of wisdom. Create a lost business opportunity report. That's such a powerful tool that you have given us, and ask the client why we failed. Being in the construction industry ourselves, there are so many projects that we we've shook hands with the client, and then we've come back and the project goes to someone else, and we actually go back to them, you realize that why they have given it. And you know the secret, sometimes it also goes because of this relationship they have with that client. So that makes it a little difficult for us to break through. So I have a question for you, Vinod. You mentioned to us that you always go back and ask the client why we failed. While price factors and all the other things are great, what do we do when it comes to personal relationships that the client has with another party?
You have, see, ultimately, what from my a personal relationship is, there will be a chance when you will get an opportunity. For example, in our industry, we go to a company and they say that we are very happy with our current supplier, and we come to know that they have a good relationship of more than 4 to 5 years with that particular supplier. Assuming that we are not going to get that business, many people will leave them. But what I personally have seen and believe that if you are in constant touch with that customer, forget about selling to them. Just say that we just want to come, we just want to have a relationship. Eventually, there will be a time when that customer will have slight issues in professionally. I'm not talk, it may not be personally, it may be professionally. Okay, the delivery may get delayed and all these things. Something may happen, and that is the time when we get an entry over there. So this is very common practice in our industry. Big accounts take around 3 to 4 years, and the same thing what you have mentioned, exactly like this happens. You will not believe, currently, like last year we got an account which was with only one supplier for 8 years, and we thought nobody can enter there, and even they used to say the same thing. There can be many variables in that. The supplier may change, the purchaser can change, something like what you say, no, the supplier can change, the buyer can change, or they may have issues for the delivery of the services. Now ultimately, remember, in a business, if your delivery is affected, or if your commitments are not kept, what you have told, once or twice they can adjust. They cannot do it regularly. It's a very simple thing. Every organization meets maybe weekly, daily, or monthly. Okay. And if an issue is continuously raised that because of this or that, you are not being able to do this, they will be in problem. So I believe be consistent and persistent, and you will get your opportunity if that lead is right for you.
Yes, thank
I
you,
hope I
Vinod.
answered that.
Yes, certainly, most certainly you did. So this, what I learned from this is that we have to be persistent. As people in sales, as business people, we have to understand that sales or company cannot be built overnight. So you have to build a relationship before actually getting the sale. So hang in there, be patient, and I'm sure you can definitely break through that desired client at least once in your lifetime. All right, let me just now ask Jasir. Jasir,
Yes.
you've been in business, you're now doing your own business as well. What is your approach to your customers? Is it a customer centric approach that you have? What is the strategy that you adopt in your business?
Thanks, Jyotika. I've been in marketing, but marketing is not sales. No, for sales is a part of marketing, but I've not been in sales. And I was just listening to, there was so much wisdom there, a lot of tips, and a lot of questions that's come up in my mind. Yeah, of course, I've been in product development as well as marketing, including digital marketing and all of that. And marketing, I see it as a sales. It's more of a sales support function. Like you will be the salespeople, and you need to build the things around for them to work with. And apart from brand awareness and all that. So yes, in all of what we did, both functions and the scripts, we always tried to be customer centric. Understanding the customer needs has been the primary thing. So We start with studying the pain points when you make products or when you make some, innovative stuff. So always starts with understanding the customer, what are the needs, the pain points, and then designing your product around that, designing the services around that, and the solutions around that, and what value you can bring to the client in that manner. Um, but when coming to that from a sales point of view, it's probably entirely different. Now, when you're in product development, it's and creating the brand and brand awareness, that's different. Um, so I was actually going to ask Vinod about how you align that with the team.
Vinod? Yeah.
Right. So there is, as an organization, there is the product development or the marketing team. So how do you work with them to align that? How you approach the client? One is when we approach the client, study the client before the product is made, and you approach the client after that's made. So my question is about bridging that.
Vinod, you can answer that, Vinod. Vinod, are you there? We can't hear you. Okay. Vinod, are you there? Okay, there's a glitch today that we are facing. So we'll give Vinod some time to join in. Meanwhile, may I request the audience, first of all, I'd like to welcome all the people who have just joined this particular discussion. Mrinal, Narayan, Rick, Vivek, Angelica, Rishav, Hari Krishnan, a warm welcome to the session. If any one of you have any question, please raise your hand and please feel free to ask the questions to our sales expert today. Vinod, are you back? Vinod? I think there's a problem, Kabir. I think there is an issue again. Kabir, are you there?
Yes, yes, I think there's an issue.
There's an
I'll
issue.
try to contact. Like, let's call.
Send him a message, probably outside
Yeah, maybe
LinkedIn.
try sending a message to him. He's
Yes,
having
I'm
there's
calling
a
him.
glitch today. Yeah. Can we just bring Hari Krishnan onto the panel, please? Right. Warm welcome, Hari Krishnan.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone.
Hi,
So
hi.
it's
Good
yes,
morning.
yeah,
Well, we can just
nice.
hold on the question a bit, but if you want to add any your feedback or comments to the session, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I've been hearing this. I've been hearing this for half an hour, and as Vinod was speaking regarding the different perspective of sales when it comes to non-Europe or non-US territories. So it's quite. Modification of principles accordingly to the local has to be is required, and rightly said by Vinod. But sometimes the frameworks help, like if it is pin or challenges sales, the framework actually helps in identifying what are the pain points of the customers, what is to be an offer, and how to offer. But there are, since the Indian market, and if you take the Indian market, there is a high number of competitors. If you take the number of competitors versus the chunk of business, so it's quite high over here. And also the quality of services. Again, the quality of services has to be replicated at some point in the future that matches the European, UN or US standards. And that's what several companies in India face as well in terms of having a proper service agreement. And
Hello,
sometimes the
am I audible?
yeah, yes, Vinod.
Yes, you are now, Vinod. So, are you okay now? You're connected?
Yeah, okay. I got
All
disconnected
right.
in between, right, Jyotika?
All right, great. Okay. Because
Yeah.
Nasir had a question, but let just Hari Krishnan finish what he's saying and then I'll come back to you, Vinod.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
All right.
So I
Hari
think
Krishnan, please continue.
yes, I think Vinod missed my major point. So I was saying that the framework of sales from US or Europe was differently ported. When it comes to the subcontinent and other areas, it has to be modified as per as the local, as you said. And I was saying that for a competitive market like India, where there are large number of competitors posing for a small chunk of the market, people are probably looking for multiple vendors. And again, the quality of services has also to match the European or US standards at some point of the time. And many of the Indian companies who are in that process of making their product foolproof, they often face the challenges of entering into a service agreement with the companies, given this relationship factor. So I can see that for companies which I worked with as a consultant on previously, they tend to the customer actually tend to get hold of the relationship, capitalize on it, and ask the companies to do more work than that is committed. So even if they are writing a very well written sales or service agreement, most of the other companies would want the Indian companies to or the companies on the subcontinent to go beyond what they have promised. And sometimes this can end up as a burden in the product team or the service team as well. So this is something which I've seen. The issue is that the perspective of the company as per the service delivered again matters. If it is a quality company, if you can be if you can be perceived as a authoritative company, it takes a lot of authority building, and also building the competency in terms of niche. And again, when we are having a changes in technology very rapidly, as IT and all AI and all, it is becoming difficult for many companies out here. So first of all, I would like to ask Vinod that the comment on that, and the panel as well. I mean, not just Vinod, Kabir, and Jasir. Any panel members can answer it. So another thing is that I think Jasir, he was saying that marketing and sales are different function, and it takes a little bit more of effort for the marketing
We've
world,
lost you,
like product
Hari.
companies are sprouting
Yeah.
up, and especially companies like SaaS, software as a service, are sprouting up. So eventually the marketing and sales for them are again converging into some areas of product management. So again, there is very thin line of difference between marketing and sales whenever you are coming to that product plus service era, where both the product and services are rightly communicated, and marketing happens on the go. So I like the panel to just comment on it, and I have mentioned my own experience over it. So I thought I think I gave a perspective on it. Thank you. Over to you, the board.
Yes. So Vinod, before we come, I think it's Hari Krishnan has quite a long question. So Vinod, would you like to take it in parts, or would you like to answer him in one go? That's up to you. And then we will come back to Jasir Alavi's question, if that's okay with Jasir.
Yeah,
Vinod had
definitely,
a
sure.
glitch. I think he didn't hear the proper. He
Oh,
again got
Vinod,
disconnected. If Jyotika, you can brief the question to him, he can answer. I think.
well, I think Hari Krishnan will have to do that. It was quite a long question. I don't think I'll
Harika,
be able to do
yeah.
justice.
If you
Whoever
can,
can do it, please can do it.
yeah. If you
Yeah,
can brief and ask it, it'll be easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can
so
you just
just
in
I'll just
brief? Yeah.
I'll just mention one pointer. So the you're talking about relationships. So whenever we are entering into a relationship first with the company, they are taking it for granted, and sometimes the company which enter into the relationship are putting a service agreement or a product agreement, and then the company takes advantage of this relationship and makes the service companies do more than they are committed. So that takes a burden on the product people of the company. The engineers of the company, tech and service people of the company. So, what is your experience when it comes to Indian subcontinent? That's my question one. Second question is that do we need to delineate the marketing and sales process in the current day scenario when it comes to some industries like SaaS or software as a service or some IT products, where marketing happens just along with sales. So both of the teams are combinedly working together as a individual team, and marketing and sales sometimes happen on the go coincidentally. So there is very thin line of difference coming up in those sectors where marketing and sales are almost the same function. Whenever there's a product release, the marketing occurs and the sales process automatically occurs there. So, what are your views on these two things? That's my simple question. Thanks.
Okay, now Vinod, are you there?
Thank you, Harish.
Okay, great.
Yeah, am I audible, Jyoti?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Harish, thanks for the question. The first question was about relationship and the agreement and all these things. So this is something which happens even here in Middle East. It's a very normal thing because most of the companies will have very comprehensive and lot of things written in their contract. And once you get into that, they will try to. What I will say is, usually companies who are providing service in their initial year, they will accept this. But if you keep accepting this for more than 2 years or 3 years, then I would not blame the like what you say, the customers, because you were. I would say that to survive for the first 3 years, get in projects, make profit enough profit so that you can do your research and development and look for better clients. Okay, and in my experience, I will say there are clients who understand all this thing, whatever you are telling, whichever subcontinent it is. There are people who understand that people are working, dealing with them. We need to pay them properly, and all these things are there. But what you said is generally the first 2 3 years of any startup, they because they need money initially, so they will get into contracts and agreements where they might be squeezed a little bit. But I would say celebrate it and look at it as a learning experience. Where is it that you can charge them more for ancillary services or something else that may not be directly related to your service? And I'll give you one example. One of our main customers who had a tender with us, they really squeezed us for the price. But then what happened was they said we have our promotions which is totally different. You can charge on in that particular thing, and that is how we made the compensation, because they said that the promotion is taken care by marketing, so we don't have a proper like what is scrutiny for the budget over there. They will have a $10 million budget, you spend it in a year, that's it. They will not go into detail of how one unit was there. But for the other things, the strategic procurement or the purchase department is looking after each and every unit, that this needs to be this much price, we need to get more and more from our supplier, and all this thing. So get into good relationship, because this in India also, I had a boss who used to do this, will give the services at a very competitive rate, but then make money from other services, something related to that, and which was not in their contract. So I would think always look for opportunities and always look for new clients, new and better clients, because you are not stuck with that particular client forever. Every great story comes to an end and every bad story comes to an end. Okay, so there is an end. You always need to remember that. Keep moving on. The second is marketing and sales. My personal opinion is they should work hand in gloves. The have a sales training. The team should have the marketing training. I don't say that they should be exactly a salesperson should, but at least once in a month there should be. We do this. We rotate the departments so that they understand what that particular department does. So when an accountant says in our company that okay, salespeople are going out enjoying their life and coming, so one day take that accountant to three customer, then they will understand what exactly the salespeople are doing. The same thing reverse. Tell a salesperson to be 3 hours with an accountant, then they will understand and start respecting what an accountant is doing. Same way, I would say that at least once in a month or once in a week, depending upon your industry, mix them, gel them, share their challenges, and how can each and everyone help them. So I usually say that just sit together, list down 4 or 5 challenges that both the teams have. How can you collaborate and solve it? What can you start doing? What can you stop doing? What you can continue doing? Right, the start, stop, continue method that we use. Most of the SaaS software as service companies use stand-up meetings and weekly meetings. That what is it that needs to be started, stopped, and continued, and they write and then they discuss it. You can have a discussion with sales and marketing team and come in. You can find the golden mean. Right, Aristotle 2,500 years had said this. Find the golden mean. Because if you take humor as a value, I'm giving an example. If you be humorous, you appear as a buffoon. If you are not at all humorous, you will appear as a stone faced person. The same thing in organizations also. If you are only focusing on marketing, then the salespeople's morale goes down. If you only focus on sales, the marketing people's morale goes down, right? So both of them have to come in between and understand how we can work together. But it's not only about sales life also. And I hope I answered that, Hari.
Yeah, it was a possible answer. Thanks, Vinod.
Great.
Thank you.
Great, Hari. And does that answer Jasir's question also? Because I think your question also was pretty much on the same lines, right, Jasir?
Yeah. First, pretty much was about bridging the gap, that we have because product and marketing, a big part of marketing comes before the product is made or the product development happens, and then the sales comes in at the latest stage, and then they interact with customers in a different way. So my question was around that, and this point that Vinod made about rotating people and making them sit with to realize how it is being in others' shoes, that really helps. It helps a lot, so yeah, that does answer my question. And
Great.
like Hari was speaking about having that the convergence in SaaS products. The areas may have blurred a bit, but I think sales is still sales. Where you have the customer touch points. You need to bring in everything, all of the sales tools, all of the sales techniques and methods. So the touch points might be broader on some industries and some companies, and might be more acute in some cases. But nevertheless, it's there, and sales I think it's more it's as much as art as a science, like said. Yep.
Absolutely, Jasir. Thank you for that input. And Vinod, you mentioned that it is important to streamline the messaging in an organization, right? Can you just give us some tips? Well, some organizations are really big, and sometimes the message somehow gets lost in the process. So, can you give us some tips on how effectively an organization can send out a message or streamline a message?
Thank you, Jyotika, for this question. And this is what I did exactly when I joined my company. Because if I people, all of their email signatures were different. They had put the company's name in their own way, company's logo in their own way. So when we say streamlining messaging, so what happens is, let's start with your marketing collaterals. Okay, marketing collaterals. Then second is, when you're communicating on your email, if there are employees in your company or 500 or 5,000, let the email signature be same for everyone, not as you want, even for mobile. Because what happens, usually people will set message for the laptop one, but when it comes to mobile, you will find a message saying that sent from Android device or something. Try to get in touch with your IT team and make sure that that also looks professional. So basically what I wanted to say here was, as a salesperson, as an entrepreneur, or as a leader of your company, you are an ambassador of your company. So once you step out into the real world and you say something, you are representing. Okay. So first, we usually do this technique training with all the salespeople. For example, if there are 20 salespeople, we will ask them, "What does your company do?" 20 people will have 20 different answers. Then we will streamline it, and we will do a brainstorming, and we'll come to the most effective answer, what the owners need to agree. Or we will call the CEO. And because in my personal experience, whenever a CEO or the main person who started the company expresses why he or she started the company, there is an emotion attached to every word. That is what I am looking for. So that emotion, when it comes straight from the horse's mouth, it transfers to the employees. We then make a nice message and say that from now on, If anybody asks you what does your company do, this is the main premise, that this is the main thing that we do. You may have one or two variation depending upon the customer, but that is one way to streamline. The second is all the collaterals. And I believe I can see Vivek over here. Vivek, I had learned something from Vivek. He used to manage, and this is relevant to this point. I will tell you why. He had given once a seminar on the importance of color, okay? Just color. And the company that he was handling the account is one of the Fortune 500 companies at that time. Not today, he's working for a different company. It was the first time I realized how companies spend millions of dollars just for their brand, just to ensure how a brand should look and how a brand should feel. So, for example, a yellow color will print different on paper, will print different on a metal, will print different on a wood. Specialist comes in and ensures that it looks same across all three or as much similar as possible. Right. So this is something which I had learned from Vivek. He came in front, so I immediately, like what you said, it came
All
into
right.
my mind of how much is that.
Okay, thank you, Vinod. Thank you. That certainly sheds light on the fact that I think the organization must be conscious in how they want to project themselves, how they want to really send out the message of the organization, for which some kind of conscious training and development has to be done in that aspect, and some kind of investment. Thank you very much, Vinod. While we are actually over time now, it's 12:31. Vivek, would you like to say something here quickly in the next 30 seconds or 1 minute if you can?
Yeah. Okay. So my question to Vinod, actually, I'm referring to the startup in India. So we are like a startup compared to the competitions. We have giant next to us. Okay. So in quality wise, we are like slightly better, or in compared to them. But again, having said that they are well established, the existing clients are well settled with them. So now, while approaching and while getting the customers and without any credit period or something, how do we approach to the new clients to come to us?
And thanks, Vivek, and all the best wishes for your startup. I know it is already growing and it will be one of the best in India. What I want to, I will give you something which I had read somewhere. How do we grow? One cup at a time. Or as a proverb from Africa, how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. So think of it as a long process, as a slow process. The other companies may have a lot of resources, they may have a lot of money. But one thing that we have understood, like what you say, if there is quality and if you are there in the market when it is available, you will grow. People will attach to your brand, and just make sure that you are consistently growing, even if it is at the small rate. But focus on the same thing what Starbucks had grown to so many stores across the world at a time. And because I mentioned Starbucks, I'll mention something else. What the owner of Starbucks had said, that we are not in coffee's business, we are in people business. Right, so you are build relationship with your distributors, build relationship with the supermarkets, build relationship with the hypermarket, because in that type of business, availability is the most important. When a customer comes to look for your product, it should be there on the shelf. So make sure wherever you are delivering right now, that is fulfilled. Second, have a target. We always say that you cannot fail in sales if you go by sales analytic and sales numbers. Whatever number you want at the end of the year, backtrack by months, whatever activities that you want to do. We cannot control result, but we can control our activities. Start meeting more and more people. There are people who are supporting local entrepreneurs more. So I believe one cup at a time or one shop at a time would be the best approach.
Thank you, Vinod. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinod. Thank you, Vivek. So it's now time for us to close and wrap up the session. While I thank the panelists here, beginning with Vinod. Thank you very much, Vinod, for that insightful session that's really enriched all of our listeners, our panelists here. our knowledge as well as our way of doing sales. Thank you very much for that. And Hari Krishnan, Jasir, Vivek, and Kabir, thank you for your time here as panelists. And to all our listeners who are listening here today, I'm sure this session must have been an eye opener for you on how you can approach sales. So, before I think I close the session, may I request you to show a heart emoticon or a clap for all our panelists here who've taken time on a Sunday morning to be here and give value to us. As Vinod clearly said, that we do not close a sale, we start a relationship, and we are all human beings. And in the process of sales, we are dealing with human beings. That is something that we should not forget. No is not over in sales, it is the beginning. So one size does not fit all, and understanding the customer behavior or the buying behavior is paramount. And I'm sure your sale will not be a salesy sale, but it'll be something that will motivate the customer to buy. Having said that, this session of We Don't Sell, we customers buy comes to an end, and I hope you all have enjoyed the session. Please join us again tomorrow 10 a.m. Dubai time and 11:30 a.m. India time for yet another enriching session that will take you in your journey and enrich you in your journey of entrepreneurship. Wishing you good luck, have a good day, and enjoy the rest of your day. Over to you, Kabir.
Thank you, dear all. Before ending the session, I would like to have 3 minutes from all of you. I would like Angelika and Miss Kim come up. I would like to have a 30 seconds from Angelika, if you are there, and Miss Kim. And these are my friends who taught me how what is the power of audio rooms. So whenever I see them, I know it's late night in their time, and thanks for the invite and being here. Angelika, can I have a small word from you?
Hey, Kabir, thanks for inviting me up. Well, it usually is late time for me when I'm in California, but today I'm in Naples, Italy. So it's 9 a.m. and I'm just loving the progress and all of your friends that you're making. Kudos to you and to everybody here that's supporting each other. This is what I love about LinkedIn. We all grow farther, we grow faster, farther as we have a team to help us go forward. And hi, Miss Kim. I know Miss Kim from way back as well. Jambo, Jambo Dada, which means hello, sister. Back over to you, Kabir.
Thank you, Angelica. Uh, Miss Kim, a word from you, please.
Thank you, Kabia. It's quite an honor to call me out. And so good to see the progress you're making, and good to have Angelica. And super nice to listen to your awesome speakers, learning a lot, Vinod, gems of wisdom, Vivek, Jithika, Jasal. Okay, this one I'm going to do a tongue twisting to say it. Hari Krishnan. Well, not so hard. And yes, I missed this. It's actually 9 a.m. in Botswana, right next to South Africa. That's why I live in Africa. It's been a pleasure. And actually, I was happy to hear this is happening again and again, because I'd love to invite my sales team. I work across sub-Saharan Africa. So I have a team in Tanzania, a team in Kenya, a team in Mauritius, and a team in Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, Zim. And we obviously struggle with sales. And Kabia, you are such a community person. You have a big heart. To keep on learning, and it's so much to do with the problems we are solving in our communities. How can we solve them amicably without being so salesy? Thank you all, and have a super Sunday.
Thank you, Miss Kim, and thank you, Angelica. Sorry for getting delayed, but as always I tell, dream big, aim high, start small. Thank you, Vinod. It was a wonderful session. He's a very good friend of mine. So, in my journey of entrepreneurship, we have been friends for almost 8 to 9 years. So you know how an entrepreneur's life is, how a startup's person who runs a startup's life is. It's very tough for them to get anyone to talk to. So this is one person I speak to, and he gives me really 1 hour to 2 hour when I'm really in a bad mood. Like when I can't, when you know that I failed a couple of times, and I had went through the hard roller coasters several times. So I would like to thank Vinod, and Vinod sessions are going to come more, and this is the right person for you to get coached from any one of you want to get sales coaching, please do contact him, and his sessions are going to come. You can follow me. So in this 100 days there are a few more sessions that's going to come from Vinod. Let me tell you, as we are ending the and we are reaching the end of the session, I would like to thank Jasir Alavi, Hari Krishnan for coming up, and Jyotika and Vivek, and all of the listeners who waited for the last. This is a journey for 100 days, and I'm on a mission now to reach 100 million startups who hear me know how crazy I am on dreams. So I'm set on a journey to meet that 100 million people who are going to make more and more jobs in this world. So I dream a lot, and I always tell everyone, dream big, aim high, start small. Start small as you can, very small as you can, and you will master it one day. And I'm sure you'll be able to focus on it, and you're going to make that impact. And I'm going to see all of you as unicorn with lots of love. Signing off, BC Kabir. In the count of three, we'll have the room closed. So you can tell bye bye to all.